Hello, children. This is our first lesson, A Letter to God, written by G.L. Fentis. As the name suggests, it is about a man who writes a letter to God. Before you read, they say faith can move mountains, but what should we put our faith in? This is the question the story delicately poses. Lencho is a farmer who writes a letter to God when his crops are ruined, asking for 100 pesos. Does Lencho's letter reach God? Does God send him the money? Think what your answer to this question would be and guess how the story continues before you begin to read it. Okay, as told in this, Lencho, there is a farmer, his name is Lencho, and he's trying to write a letter to God complaining about his crops which are ruined due to rain, okay, asking for 100 pesos. Pesos means it is a currency which is used in Latin American countries and all. So let's see how the story goes. You can see that there's an activity there, but that we can do it later. We'll straight away go to the story. The house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. From the height, one could see the river and the field of ripe corn dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour or at least a shower. Throughout the morning, Lencho, who knew his fields intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. Now there's a house which is there in the valley, which is on top of a hill, and from there the entire he's a farmer, as I told you earlier. So his entire crop and everything could be seen very clearly. And the only thing that the earth now needed was just a downpour, a rain, or a shower. Okay. So throughout that particular morning, Lencho is continuously looking at the sky and waiting for rain. Now we are going to get some rain, some water, woman. The woman who was preparing supper replied, Yes, God willing. The older boys were working in the field while the smaller ones were playing near the house until the woman called to them all, Come for dinner. Okay, so now Lencho is saying to a woman which is inside the home, it can be interpreted as his wife, the wife is telling, supper is ready, the older boys and the younger boys, everybody come for having dinner. It was during the meal that, just as Lencho had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. So when they all came for having dinner, as Lencho had predicted before, it started raining. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. The air was fresh and sweet. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body, and when he returned, he exclaimed, okay, so seeing the droplets of rain pouring, he just went out and he sensed the air was fresh, and for no reason he just went out. He was very happy because as a farmer is concerned, they need rain for his crops. So he was very happy that it is going to rain now. And he came inside and told, These aren't raindrops falling from the sky. They are new coins. The big drops are 10 cents and the little ones are 5s. Okay, so now he went in. First he went outside and just felt the rain, and then he came back and then he exclaimed to his family that it is not raindrops that is falling, but it looks like some new coins or something. The big drops are 10 cents and the small are 5 cents. So why he's saying like that is there in the coming paragraph. Let's see. With a satisfied expression, he regarded the fields of rice corn with its flowers draped in a curtain of rain. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. These truly did resemble new silver coins. Okay, so now what happened was that he was very much happy that it was raining. I mean, it was pouring, and then it was nice to see how the rain was covered. Rain is covering covering the flowers and all. It was very beautiful to watch. But then suddenly what happened, a strong wind came and a very large hailstone began to fall. It really looked like silver coins. So the coins that he felt earlier also, the small pieces, was really hailstones. Okay. So at that time, when just one or two hailstones fell, he felt it obviously like new coins. That means it can be interpreted as obviously the man needs rain to get money, like that. At that time, he was very happy. But later on, when this hailstones started coming one after the another in a very quick way, he felt. Let's see what is happening. It truly did resemble new silvers. The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. In the initial stage, everybody was very happy that along with the rain, hailstones are also coming. And then the boys went outside to collect these frozen pearls or these hailstones. "It's really getting bad now," exclaimed the man. "I hope it passes quickly." It did not pass quickly. For an hour, the hail rained on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, on the whole valley. The field was white as if covered with salt. Okay, so first he thought that okay, let the hailstone rain for only like half an hour or something, but no, it was not like that. The hail, it went for more than an hour. On the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, the whole valley, everything was covered white, like as if it was covered with salt. So too much. Not a leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed. The flowers were gone from the plants. Lencho's soul was filled with sadness. So he thought that it is raining. It would be good to for his plants. He could get it's a way for getting money. But then what happened was that on the contrary to his thought, the hailstone fell so badly that everything was destroyed. Okay, not a leaf remained on the trees. No corn was there. Corn was totally destroyed, and Lencho felt very much sad. When the storm had passed, he stood in middle of the field and said to his son, "A plague of locusts would." Okay, so now completely the storm has passed away now. The crop is fully ruined and everything. So just Lencho stood in the middle of the field and just told to his sons. What did he say? "A plague of locusts would have left more than this." Okay, now locust means it is an insect which fly in big swarms and destroy crops. Even a whole lot of locusts would not have done this much of destruction. But more than that, the hailstone has done. The hail has left nothing. This year we will have no corn. That night was a sorrowful one. All our work for nothing. There's no one who can help us. We'll go hungry this year. Okay. So now the hail has left nothing. Everything was completely destroyed. His hard work, his months of hard work, and everything. So they lived their life by through farming only, but then completely gone. The night was a very sorrowful one, and he told this year definitely we'll go hungry this year. But in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope: help from God. Okay, so now even though Lencho told that we are going to definitely die this year due to hunger, we are not going to get enough of money to buy things or everything was a disaster. But even though all those things were there, somewhere he had a hope that he would get help from God. Don't be so upset. Even though this seems like a total loss, remember, no one dies of hunger. So now he is consoling himself, thinking that don't be very much upset. Even though there's a total loss in anything, everything total loss happens, nobody dies of hunger. Remember, nobody dies of hunger. That means some or the other way will be found out to quench our hunger. That's what they say. No one dies of hunger. All through the night, Lencho thought only of his one hope, the help of God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed, see everything, even what is deep in one's conscience. Okay, so now he had the help of God. I'll get help from God. That was the only thing that was there in his mind now. He thought, God is there. Definitely God is there. God will definitely be there to help me. Lencho was an ox of a of a man working like an animal in the field, but still he knew how to write. Okay, Lencho as an ox of a man means he was a very hard working man. He worked like an animal in the field, and he was not that much illiterate. He knew how to write. The following Sunday, at daybreak, he began to write a letter which he himself would carry to town and place in the mail. It was nothing less than a letter to God. Okay. Now, so this is the thing. The very next day, the next following Sunday, he came up with an idea. He thought there is only one thing that I can do now. What is it? I'll write a letter to God, complaining or saying the situation that I want to help, and I'm going to write a letter to God. God, he wrote, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again and to leave until the crop comes because the hailstorm. Okay, so now you can see the faith that is there, that much which is there deeply in this man. He is that much confident that the only power that can help him now is God. And so and he has that much confidence that God will definitely help him in some or the other way. And this man is so innocent that he thought, I will write a letter to God. And like that he's writing. He wrote, God, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. I need at least 100 pesos to sow my field again and everything, because the hailstorm has destroyed it completely. Like that he wrote a letter to God. He wrote to God on the envelope, put the letter inside, and still troubled went to town. At the post office, he placed a stamp on the letter and dropped it into the mailbox. So he wrote a letter as an address. He wrote to God, went to town, placed the letter in the mailbox, stamped and placed the letter in the mailbox. One of the employees, who was a postman and also helped at the post office, went to his boss laughing heartily and showing him the letter to God. Now, obviously, it will be a humorous thing that, it may seem to be very humorous for other people to know that someone has written a letter to God. So the postman who received this letter, who has to give this to the particular person, he saw that this is a letter written to God, and he was very much laughing. And then he's showing to the other employees in the post office. Never in his career as a postman had he known that address. Okay, he never knew the address to the God, where to find the God. He never knew that address. The postman, a fat, amiable fellow, also broke out laughing, but almost immediately he turned serious and tapping on the desk tapping the letter on his desk, commented, "What faith! I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter," starting up a correspondence with God. Okay, so now the postmaster, the head there, he was a very fat, amiable man. Amiable means very friendly sort of a person. First, he also laughed, and suddenly he just became serious, and he just thought, "I wish I had that faith. I wish I had that much of confidence in God, like that man has." Starting up a correspondence with God. Here, correspondence means communication. So this man, the Lenjo has a literal communication with God. At least he thinks that he has. So I wish I had that faith like that man. He thought like that. So, in order not to shake the writer's faith in God, the postmaster came up with an idea: answer the letter. So now he didn't want to destroy the faith of the writer, whoever wrote it. He wants the writer to feel that yes, God is there to help you, and because of that, he came with an idea what to do to give an answer to this letter. But when he opened it, it was evident that to answer it, he needed something more than goodwill, ink and paper. So when he opened the letter, he understood that no, just a writing thing, ink and paper is not only the thing that we need to fulfill the dream of this man, but something else also is needed. What is it? But he stuck to his resolution. He asked for money from his employees. He himself gave part of his salary, and several friends of his were obliged to give something for an act of charity. So we know that inside the letter, Lenjo has written that my family will we are in a very bad condition. If you do not help us, we are going to be in a. Again, I need 100 pesos and everything. Lenjo has written. So. the man understood, the postmaster understood that somehow they have to collect money also to make this man happy, this writer happy. And so he himself gave money, then from his employees, then several friends, and everybody, as a part of charity, everybody gave some contribution that they could give. It was impossible for him to gather together the 100 pesos, so he was able to send the farmer only a little more than half. Okay, so 100 to collect and give 100 pesos was definitely impossible for them, but they collected more than half of the amount that Lencho had asked. He put the money in an envelope addressed to Lencho, and with it a letter containing only a single word as signature: God. So what did they do? They collected the amount, they put it inside the envelope, and under that they just with the signature they wrote God. The following Sunday, Lencho came a bit earlier than usual to ask if there was a letter for him. It was a postman himself who handed the letter to him, while the postmaster, experiencing the contentment of a man who has performed a good deed, looked on from his office. Okay, so now Lencho came and asked if I had a letter, and then like that the postman gave, and then the postmaster was looking at this man, or this Lencho, sitting as though very much happy, and he felt that he has done something very much good, very good deed. He was sitting in such a way, looking at this man. Lencho showed not the slightest surprise on seeing the money, such was his confidence, but he became angry when he counted the money. Okay, so now obviously he has written a letter to God. We may think that he is nuts or something, that he has written a letter to God, but his faith was to such an extent that he knew that definitely a reply will come from God, and that too money will be there, or the reply will be there. That was a level of confidence or level of faith that the man had entrusted on God. And then he opened the letter, but he was not happy. Lencho showed the slight, there was no surprise on seeing the money. That much was his confidence, but he became angry. When he counted the money, he was angry. Okay. God could not have made a mistake, nor could he have denied Lencho what he had asked. So he thought, no, God cannot make any mistake, or God won't reject my case. Like that Lencho is thinking. Immediately, Lencho went up to the window to ask for a paper and ink. On the public writing table, he started to write with much wrinkling of his brows, caused by the effort he had to make to express his ideas. Okay, so now soon after reading the letter, he was not happy, and then he went to the window. He started writing a letter back. With much wrinkling on his brows. So he was because he is not happy, so his eyebrows is in a grumpy manner. And then when he finished, he went to the window to buy a stamp, which he licked and then affixed to the envelope with the blow of his fist. Okay, so now he went and then he stamped, and everything is done now. The moment the letter fell into the mailbox, the postmaster went to open it. Okay, and like that he went like that and mailed it. I mean, he put it and he went. The moment he went away, the postmaster went and took the letter. It said, God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, since I need it very much. But don't send it to me through the mail, because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. Lencho. Okay, so this is the content of the letter. What did he say? That I received the money, but I asked 100 pesos, but you gave only 70. Give me the rest. I need it. It is very much important for me. But don't send it through mail, because I think that the post office people, or the postmaster, or the employees who are working there, they are a bunch of crooks. And so signed Lencho. That was the content of the letter. And with that, we finish the story. So what he thought was that God has definitely sent him money, that 200 pesos, but 70 only he got, so the rest 30 pesos were taken by the post office man and people. He never thought that it is not God who helped, or it can be someone else, or someone did a favor for me. Such sort of thoughts are not there in him at all, because he's that much confident that there is God, and God will be there to help me. That faith is the main theme in this in the story. Okay, if we could say which is the main theme, it is faith only. Faith in God is the main theme. So everybody comes to a situation where we all have faith in God, but this is the way in which through a man we could understand. The author tries to portray how much some people have faith in God, that they are even ready to write a letter to God, and they think that will come back. So that much faith is there in Lencho. So that is the main theme of the story. Then various other themes also we can say, like innocence of a farmer's innocence, how he can be such innocent person, thinking that I can write a letter to God, or God will be there to help me literally through a letter and all. Obviously if we pray, our answers are prayed, God is there, we believe it, that's true. But still through a letter, and also it is the innocence of the farmer again being portrayed here. So it can be another theme. Then other theme is that sometimes generosity or helpfulness that we show is not always recognizable. We do something, some deeds, we think that it will go, people will be happy about it, or people will praise you because you did it. But at times it is not like that. Your generosity or helpfulness, or the thing that you did, or the good deed that you did, will go unnoticed. People will never know that you had a part to play in that particular situation. So that can be another theme that has been played here. Okay, I hope that the story is clear. As I told you, the main theme is faith only. Faith in God is the main thing. Then you can say innocence of a farmer is another theme, and the third thing, generosity, which we show at some times. It may not be, it may not be recognizable all the time. Those are some of the themes that can be interpreted. Okay. Now thinking about the text, I'm going to discuss only question number 2, 3, 4, and 6. One is just to take sentences from the text and show that you can do. Then the second one is, why does the postmaster send money to Lenjo? Why does he sign the letter God? So the postmaster, it is obvious the postmaster has sent money to Lenjo because he was moved by Lenjo's faith, how much faith this man has. That is why. Okay, and why does he sign the letter God? Because the postmaster wanted Lenjo to feel that it was God himself who has answered the letter. Okay. Then did Lenjo try to find out who has sent the letter to him? Why or why not? No, he did not try to find out who has sent the letter, because he had that much great confidence in God. He did not think of any other option at all. He knew that God is definitely going to answer, and that is because of his confidence in God. Okay. Then what is it? Who does Lenjo think has taken the rest of the money? What is the irony in the situation? Okay, so now he thought that the post office people has taken the rest of the money, and what is the irony in the situation? In brackets it is written. Remember that the irony of a situation is an expressed aspect of it. An ironic situation is strange or amusing because it is the opposite of what is expected. Here it is the opposite of what is expected. The post people or the post employees thought that definitely they will be thanked, or the man will feel happy seeing the letter. They were waiting for that thing, when the man when Lenjo comes and opens the letter, the happiness that could be seen on the face, everything that postmaster expected. But what happened? He became very much angry and things like that. So the irony, it is the opposite of what was expected happened, and he mistook these good people who had helped him to be a bunch of crooks. Okay. Then the fifth one, again I'm not discussing, that is to select some appropriate words from the box. Then the sixth one, there are two kinds of conflict in the story, between the human and nature, and between human themselves. How are these conflicts illustrated? So in what way are these conflicts illustrated? Okay, so this is it's a value based question here. So here obviously there is a conflict between human and nature, which is obviously the human and nature. It is shown by the destruction of Lencho's crop by the hailstorm. As the crops failed by hail, Lencho couldn't, he felt very sad, he felt gloomy and things like that. So that is how the conflicts happens between the human and nature. Now, the story also shows us another conflict, that is between humans themselves. Here, the postmaster, along with their employees, all tried to help this man. They collected money. They wanted to show an act of kindness and everything. But what happened? That also, they wanted to. It was a part of a being. It was a good deed. But at last, they got blame only from Lencho, telling that they took some. They took away Lencho's money. And so this shows that man does not have faith in his human fellows, isn't it? People should have faith in each other. So this shows that Lencho was not at all having faith in other human fellows. This is the way how what the conflict between humans are illustrated here. Okay, so this is it. This is the lesson. I hope you all have understood. Thank you.